Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Simon Beaumont, Tableau ambassador and proud to be a Zen Master for 2019 and co-host Sports Viz Sunday with Spencer Bork and James Smith.
All right, hey everybody, my name's Beau McCready. I've been using Tableau for about 6.5 years now, and currently I direct a research team for a public school district. But the Sports Viz stuff is something that I really enjoy doing in my spare time, and really appreciate this opportunity and excited to chat with everyone.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys making the call. So to introduce myself briefly, my name is John David, and I make content helping people advance their analytic skills. So again, I really appreciate you guys making it. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, what exactly is Sports Viz Sunday?
So Sports Viz Sunday is a community initiative. We were inspired by kind of Makeover Monday, Workout Wednesday, but back in 2018, a few of us got together and kind of said, we all love sports. We're all a bit geeky. We all love data. But there's nothing out there that kind of connects data and sports together. There were all of these amazing visualizations that were being shared on Tableau, and everyone was being showcased from Viz of the Day and Tableau public profiles. But we thought it'd be really cool if we tried to create a community initiative where to create Vizzes, but also just a way of people to be able to say, hey, I've done a sports Viz. What do you reckon of this? And to have other people in the community say that's pretty cool, and to give feedback and to get that energy that every week Andy and Eva do as part of Makeover Monday. So that's kind of that was the idea.
You got anything else to add, Beau?
Yeah, I'll just add that I had the chance to meet Simon at the Tableau conference this past fall in New Orleans, and that was kind of why I first started getting involved with this kind of work. So I've been using Tableau for a long time, but I'm relatively new to putting stuff out there into the public and publishing things online. And I thought, for me, I'm a huge sports fan and enjoy reading about sports, thinking about sports. I think like a lot of guys around my age, I first got into analytics work after I read Moneyball and thought, hey, this is pretty cool. I'd like to learn more about this kind of thing. And so, once I saw the community work out there through Sports Viz Sunday, I thought, hey, I want to be a part of this. I want to start putting things out there, and really also just learning from everybody else's amazing work.
And John, I think what Beau said there is probably the most important part of it. It's just meant to be fun. So there's no expectation that everyone has to do it every week. There's no expectation that people have to amaze us. It's just about an opportunity to learn. All of us love sports in the Sports Viz Sunday community. All of us love data. So it's just meant to be a bit of fun. And I think that's the nicest thing. Every time someone publishes something, you can see the energy around it and you can see the enthusiasm around it. And some of the stuff that Beau's done since Tableau Conference, I think it's probably one Viz a week at the minute. So it's pretty awesome kind of seeing that come out. But just the whole diversity of people that participate. You get people from all over the world for all different types of sports. This year we've made an inclusivity promise so that we'll try and include women's data as part of every challenge we do. And I just think that's really important that we are a community. Sports is for everyone. So actually it's not just about showcasing 2 or 3 people. It's about giving everyone a platform to share their experience and their passion.
Well, it seems like you guys are jumping ahead a little bit. That was like my fourth question is, so why is this your It seems like what you're doing is you're hijacking your passion for sports, getting that energy and that enthusiasm, and then channeling it into a skill set, which is, I mean, that's like gold. That's awesome right there. 'Cause, I mean, it's something that you can advance that can help grow your career, but also it's something social. I mean, it seems like it just hits on all fronts. So can you expand upon that? So why are you so passionate about this?
Yeah, I think for me, I've been a huge sports fan my whole life, and I think once I had that moment where I realized, hey, I know how to do big data work, I know how to do analytics, I know how to work with Tableau, and given the huge number of quality, interesting data sets that are out there, I thought, hey, if I wonder something about a sport I'm really interested in, um, I have the ability to go explore it myself. And yeah, I want to learn something. I want to dig into a topic. I can do that. And to me, that's really awesome. I think really anything related to your career and skill development, you can find a way to tap into a passion that you have. I think some of the coolest visualizations you're going to see out there on the internet are, in sports or anything else, is when somebody's passion for the topic really comes through, because that's when, really any of us working in analytics careers too, when you have that content knowledge, then you're not just spitting out numbers back to people. You know the stories you want to tell, the things that are interesting. And if you've been watching and playing sports for decades, you probably have a good sense of some of the things you might want to dig into a little bit more, and maybe put a fresh look on things that people are talking about, or challenge some common perceptions and see if the data actually bears it out.
Yeah, pretty much what Bo said. For me, it's about kind of, you get your most creative when you're visiting something that you're passionate about. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my day job. So if my boss is watching this, love what I do. But you know what? There's only so much excitement you can get about visiting business numbers. Yeah, it's great when you get kind of your customer, your client, get that light bulb moment. But I've got to be honest, when I come home, or I'm on the train home from work, and I get an opportunity to explore a data set that really gets me going, and gets that buzz of, I understand it. I kind of can remember the moment of when I saw the football match on screen, and now I'm visiting about it. That's what makes me want to be a bit more creative than in the constraints of a workplace. And you know what? Some of what we do in Sports Biz Sunday does help us back in a work environment. I'm not saying we'll all do a wacky radar chart or a radial chart, but you know what? Some of what we do in terms of that creativity can spill over into our working life, so it does benefit us in the longer term. But for me, it's all about about something you're passionate about, and that's the best way to learn.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting concept. I'm actually talking to Greensboro College next week about them introducing an analytics minor in their program, and I think I'm going to mention, look, you have a lot of student athletes here. I think you could get a lot of students excited about analytics and use sports viz as kind of the conduit for that.
Yeah.
Because it seems like at the end of the day, you're driving strategy, or there's some KPI or some metric that is worth looking at. And it seems like a very small step from that to, well, look, this is the business strategy. We're driving these KPIs. It's going to increase sales or cut costs.
Yeah, so for me, the common thing about all of it is you're telling a story. And the business story might be a little bit more black and white, or a little bit more constrained in kind of its messages. But it all goes back to, you're trying to take data and you're trying to visualize a message. And it just so happens when you're doing sports, that message can be a little bit creative and a little bit funky. And it connects with people because people emotionally connect with sports. So it's really easy to get that connection with your reader.
Yeah, and I'll build on something Simon said as well about bringing the creativity from sports data work back into those I guess day job use cases. A really concrete example for me, and yeah, only a few people here know this, but we are doing some things with staff allocations and kind of where we put people and where we invest when new money comes in, and a lot of the formulas behind that are inspired by and based on some things I've done with fantasy baseball player evaluation. It's taking data, it's figuring out scarcity, and yeah, the principles in some cases work really, really directly. And again, fantasy baseball concepts with some z-scores and things like that. And I mean, we're using them every year for staff allocation, and that's working really well.
Awesome. So I got to ask, what sports did you guys play growing up?
I'll let Bo go first.
Oh, sure. So I grew up in Wisconsin, so wasn't much good at it, but I did grow up playing hockey. And then I played tennis in school as well. And then when I was in my 20s, picked up soccer as a hobby. But my career was cut a little bit short by a badly broken wrist and having my first child. So I'd like to get back into it, but I'm on hiatus right now.
So for me, it might be easier to say what sports I don't play because I just love trying everything. But play golf, I've done since I was a kid. First time I ever picked up a golf club, I hit my uncle around the head with it, knocked him out, but let's not go into that. Play badminton and I've done for about 25 years, but also play soccer, playing goal in five-a-side. But I'm absolutely awful at it, but love playing cricket, tennis. So yeah, it's just nice to do anything that kind of you can feel as though you can do, even if you're absolutely awful at it, you can still have a bit of fun.
Question 2, I'm brand new to this. How do I get started?
Jump in. So kind of the best thing about Tableau is its community. So it doesn't matter if it's Sports Viz Sunday or if it's Makeover Monday or Workout Wednesday. My honest advice would be no one will ever judge you. So just find something you're interested in. Doesn't matter if it's your first viz or your 100th viz, get it put on Tableau Public, because the one thing you'll find is everyone will support you and everyone will want to help you along the way. And that was the thing that I found most rewarding. And I still keep my early vizzes on there because it just shows the progression. So from a sports perspective, we've got the Sports Viz Sunday website, and that's got a load of data sets on it. So I'll just give you a quick peek of what that looks like. But what we do is we every month share some sports data sets, and on our Sports Viz Sunday website, you can go down and it's a link to download the data. So there's a load of data sets on there. So hopefully there's a sport that you'd be interested in. And my advice would be, so you see we've got football or soccer, sorry. We got golf, we got F1, we got Winter Olympics, rugby, tennis. My honest advice would be just jump in and give it a go. But make sure you share what you do, because there's so many people that want to help you.
That's great. You got anything to add, Bo?
No, I think that's a great answer. Yeah, for me, it was really just getting the confidence to put things out there, share with the community, and you may be really surprised at what happens. I just joined Twitter this past October, basically to start sharing Tableau projects. And I mean, Simon's right. The whole community is so nice and supportive. Gotten lots of great ideas from people. I think there's just kind of a fundamental kindness to everybody who's interacting around this kind of work that you don't see a lot. And it's been a really nice community for me to be part of. And the reception to some things has been really surprising in a positive way. And it's fun to just, something you think is a personal project that nobody's really going to care about. You put it out there, and people do sometimes, and that's really cool.
And it is pretty cool, Bo, when you get, what is it now, over 250,000 hits for your most popular film viz?
Yeah, that's been pretty neat. So wow. That was fun.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
So one of the major problems I see with, or not problems, the major challenge is people who are new, they just downloaded Tableau Public, the free version. They don't know where to go. Where do you get a clean data source? So you showed me that web page. Are there any other data sources, or do you have a favorite data source that you guys typically kind of prescribe to a newbie?
So there's a couple places I really like to go for data. I'm a big baseball fan, and Fangraphs has a lot of really excellent data sets available that are super easy to export in CSV format, and they also export in ways that are really friendly to analysts with unique identifiers for each player and things like that. So if you want to pull multiple data sets together, you've got that unique ID for people who have the same name or whatever. So it's really easy data to work with in that way. I also just like working with baseball data in general because I think it's one of the most heavily and accurately quantified sports, if that makes sense. A lot of interactions in baseball are just really easy to keep track of in a way where, if you're looking at American football, the ability to quantify what's happening as an offensive and defensive line interact is a lot harder than it is to say, hey, somebody threw this pitch at this many miles an hour, and this was the result when the batter swung at it. So, so I really like using Fangraphs data. Otherwise, the whole sports reference network, Pro Football Reference, Baseball Reference, a lot of nice things that you can download and access there that are also pretty easy to work with. So those are a couple of my go-tos for sports data.
So, Bo, just as a quick heads up to give you a sneak preview, our March Sports Viz Sunday challenge will be baseball. So,
awesome.
Hopefully, you'll enjoy it. I guess my advice would be two things. You can reach out and ask the community. So, we have quite a few people just reach out and say, hey, guys, can you help us where there's a Formula One data set or there's a basketball data set? And people can share their experience because most people have found it in the past. So, they're happy to share. The other thing is don't be afraid to just copy and paste from a website. So when I started, you can get data sets that are thousands of rows deep and allow you to really go into detail. But actually, sometimes, just 100 rows of data that you can copy and paste from a data set, it gets you started. So don't think you have to overcomplicate things. If there's a website like ESPN that you can go onto and just copy the data from, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure you quote it when you do the viz.
Wow, that was like my very next question was, how do you identify what's a good sports data set versus one that would be kind of tricky to work with?
I guess for me, it depends what you want to do with it. So we had a golf challenge for the Masters in April last year, and it had I think it was over 35,000 rows of data because it had every single round going back to the early 1900s across the Masters. Oh, wow. And I loved doing that because you could explore variation. There were so many different stories. But then there have been other challenges where we've given people 200 or 300 rows of data and we've got more response because they found it easier to engage with and easier to jump in. So I guess it depends. It depends what floats your boat, if that's not too much of an English phrase. But what's right for one person isn't right for someone else. So I wouldn't necessarily say what makes a good or a bad one. It's just what's right for you.
Great.
Yeah, I think a good data set is a data set that excites you, that you have fun working with, and that you can use to tell a story. And to me, it doesn't go a whole lot beyond that.
Awesome. So the third point that I wanted to hit on is, can you walk us through some of your favorite sports viz? Or I should say vizzes, because there's going to be more than one.
So I can throw up a few highlights here, and I apologize by going first here, Simon, if I take anything that you were going to show. So I'm going to show just a few examples here of things that I've seen online. I wanted to show this one that Luke Stanky produced about goalkeeping success in Major League Soccer. I think this is a super creative and beautiful view. If I can take this to full screen here, I think it's really creative graphically. You can learn a lot about kind of different save success for shots in different locations. Really clean, elegant, good use of custom shapes. I think something like this shows how you can make it really graphically appealing for something, a little less conventional than a bunch of different bar charts showing how things, change over time. So I wanted to highlight this one. A couple others that I really like here. Spencer, one of the co-hosts of Sports Viz Sunday, for one of the challenges earlier this year, he, sorry, I think I lost it for a second here. Try this one more time. All right. So when this pulls up here, the data set for that challenge was about North American sports championships. So it had champions and runners-up going back across leagues and sports for really many years. And I thought what Spencer did here that was really creative is build something around this conception of dynasties. So using these arcs to show team success over time, across sports, using the custom team colors to show this. This one's a personal favorite that I think, maybe if you're not a huge hockey fan, you forget how successful Montreal was really for a 30-year period there.
Wow.
Again, a little more unconventional view. Thought this one was pretty neat, and when I first saw this, I was like, wow, this is a really cool way to think about this concept. And then one more from someone else I wanted to highlight. So this viz that Kevin Flairledge, sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong, Kevin, put together here about win and loss streaks in Major League Baseball last year. This one I love because it really encourages the interactivity to figure out what you're looking at. So really kind of draws people in a less passive way. Super, super creative, good use of team colors here. Kind of fun ways to navigate across the league.
Our Sports Viz Sunday challenge for February was about the Rugby Six Nations in Europe. And Sam Parsons was one of our co-hosts. So we invite guest hosts in every month that have got a passion about the sport. And Sam's viz actually got Viz of the Day. But I was just blown away by its creativity and its just visual appearance. Each of the rows is an individual team, and then each of the individual sections is a different type of trophy that you can win in the Six Nations. I just think it's incredibly engaging, and it just wants me to dive in further. And it goes back to what Bo and I was speaking about before. Sports allows you to be creative because you just get into it and you get lost in the moment. And I know how long it took Sam to create this. I think it was about 2.5 weeks in total. And that just goes to show how much passion and engagement he had in the process. So that was one. I just wanted to share another one that was done as part of the rugby. So exactly the same data set, but Alex Jones visualized who won the Six Nations over time. So it's actually possible that more than one team can win it. So what I really liked about this is when it's a triangle, it means that 3 teams actually finished as joint winners. When it's a circle, it means there was 1 team, and the gold circle in the middle means that it was what's called a Grand Slam. So that means they won every single game. And then these ones where it's lines represents 2 teams. And I just wanted to share those 2 as an example, because that literally is exactly the same data set, but 2 completely different vizzes. And I think both of them in their own right are absolutely awesome. And then lastly, I just wanted to share with you, just in case you did want to get involved and be inspired yourself, we, at the beginning of the year, created a Sports Viz Sunday calendar for 2019. So each one of these, so you got the months, bear with us 2 secs. So you've got the months going round the circle, and then each individual one of these sectors is an individual sporting event throughout the year. But the reason I just wanted to showcase this viz is then underneath it gives you a link to every single sports viz that was created as part of one of the Sports Viz Sunday challenges in 2018. So if you click on any one of these, it will link you through to the Tableau public profile, and you can explore it in more detail. So if you do want to get started, there's kind of over 100 vizzes there that you can explore, all of which have been created through the data sets that are published every month as part of our challenges.
Wow, that's awesome. So I appreciate you guys sharing these. Do you have any, I guess, closing remarks or anything that you wanted to add in before we, call it a day?
I just want to say thanks to everyone, because doing Sports Viz Sunday and helping run it and being part of the community is just great fun. And it wouldn't be great fun unless people participated. So just thanks for all the interest that people show, the passion they show. And if you do want to get involved, if you want any advice, any feedback on a viz, I know Bo would probably say exactly the same, but just reach out to people. We're all here to help. We're all here to make things better and make things more enjoyable. So yeah, just jump in and give it a go.
I'd say, pick a question you're interested in, go find a little data to play with, and put it out there. And absolutely don't hesitate to reach out directly to Simon, to me, to anybody you see doing this kind of work online. Everybody's so willing to talk and give helpful feedback. And yeah, I think some of the best ways to develop in your career, to have fun, to develop personally, are to start doing projects like this, making connections, and being part of what's been a really, really positive and supportive community. So go find something you're curious about or passionate about, make something, put it out there, and you might be amazed what happens.